Hey singers, my name's Christopher David Mitchell, vocal coach here in London, and today we're on episode 6, which is entitled, Should You Sing When You're Ill? 'Tis the season to be ill. Around winter time, I've had so many cancellations and I myself have gone through a cough, cold and everything. So when you've got performances, auditions, or even just singing lessons, should you be singing when you're ill, when you're sick? Will it make things better or worse? Tips and advice and everything on this topic here to come. So, disclaimers here. This is advice and I'm not liable or responsible for anything you decide to do with your voice, because this is the answer in a nutshell anyway, which is it's your responsibility. And it's up to you to determine the factors. It's such an individual thing, depending on how sick you are, the performance, there's such a spectrum of this that there's no yes or no answer. The answer really is, it depends. But we're gonna go through the factors that will help you assess maybe whether it's a yes or no for you to sing when you're sick. The first one is, just how sick are you? So, what is the level of how ill you are? Are we talking a cough or a cold, or are we talking something very serious? And obviously there's everything on this huge spectrum. If it's a cough and a cold and it's something on the mild side of life, yes, that can still lead to swollen vocal folds and yes, issues down the line. But you don't want to be too precious that you're a gigging artist and when there's any sign of a cough or a cold, suddenly it's, oh, I can't sing today. Because there has to be a somewhat attitude of acknowledgement that, we're not always going to be perfect. You're going to be on the road, sometimes you're going to be on tour. To say that the voice is always going to be 100%, that's just not reality in real life. So if it's on the mild side of the spectrum of just how severe the illness is, I would probably suggest that could turn you more towards the yes for getting through that singing if you're ill. Obviously, if it's at the severe end of the illness spectrum, then you need to listen to yourself. You need to listen to your own body. And if it is serious, yes, of course, you have to sometimes take time out. What I will say here is that everything is a choice. You'll get some singers that say, I can't cancel that show. I mean, yes, you can. You can cancel nearly pretty much about anything. Yes, there may be consequences, and that's when this becomes really your responsibility and decision making, but you can still normally cancel. Even if it's a West End show, even if it's the final of an audition, you can still cancel. So at the end of the day, it is still always your choice and your responsibility, what you choose to do. Funny story on this is, I was in hospital in 2013, but I was very, very ill. I was about to have like a near-death experience and a few days to live in hospital. And just in case you're new to this channel, check out my story, survival story that I've got on my video that explains all that. But basically I had to cancel the day before on a West End concert, and I was singing like lead songs, and it was a really cool opportunity for me, and it was heartbreaking. But I had to do it because that was on the severe side of illness. We're not talking a cough or cold here. And then I had to say, do you know what? Enough's enough, and, health's most important. So you have to assess just how ill or sick you are. Is it on the mild side? Is it on the severe side? And where is it on the degree in between? So that's the first factor that I would urge you to just really honestly look at. Just how ill and sick am I? You know if it's something mild, and you know within your body if it's something really wrong. Still, this is not the only factor. So even if you've decided this, then still it's determined on our next set of principles as well. So set of principles number 2 is just how important is the gig? So again, put this on a spectrum. Is it a first round of an audition and you're going to have loads of them, so it's not that valuable on the scale of life? Is it singing at the Grammys or, at the Oscars? But seriously, it can be this decision for people. So this is a huge other thing we need to think about that will then coincide with your answer from the first set, which is just how ill were you, and then this one is just how important is the gig. Singers will tend to think it's so important. I can't miss this event. I can't miss this gig. Well, like I say, it is still a choice. You can. So think about just how important is this event or gig or performance I need to sing at. Is it on the very, very, very important end of the spectrum where I would regret it for the rest of my life, and it doesn't matter if I'm fairly sick, I absolutely need to do this opportunity because it's a huge opportunity, it's only going to come around once in a lifetime? Or is it one of them that, you know, it's another gig at the weekend, or it's another first round audition and there's hundreds of them going and it's not that important? Again, and everything on the spectrum. So place the event, whether it be a singing lesson, whether it be a performance, whether it be an audition, on that spectrum. So that is factor number 2. And the third factor I'll put in is just how bad is your singing voice. Sometimes you're quite ill, but you can still sing really well. People will be quite ill or quite sick or a bit run down, a bit tired, they've got a cold, but really there's not many people that would know about it and they can still sing darn well, especially with a good vocal warm-up, i.e. the Exceptional Vocal Warm-Up course. Had to throw that one in. That's available on my website. But even still, like if you're very, very sick, that none of that's going to work. But just try a little bit on the voice. If you're so ill and sick that there's practically absolutely nothing there vocally, then it might be one that you don't want to do performance-wise because it looks worse than if you did do it. Do you know what I mean? Or if you know your voice really well, if you know your instrument really well and you know okay, I'm a bit vocally tired here because I'm ill or I'm sick, but with a good vocal warm-up, with a Skype with my vocal coach, whatever, I know I could probably get it back. Or are you so ill and you know that your voice is just knacked that you think, even if I did go on that performance, it would actually be worse for me because I would show up with such a bad performance that it's better for me to cancel. It's more sensible for me to cancel than show up and be that bad. And again, if you know your instrument really well as a singer, you should just intuitively know if your voice is absolutely gone and it's never going to go again through illness, or whether you're ill but with a bit of warming up, with a bit of this, with a bit of rest, maybe a sleep in the afternoon and a Skype with your vocal coach, etc., that you should be able to get it back. Again, that comes with time and just really knowing your instrument. So to conclude, we're going to wrap up all 3 in a second and help you decide, but what I will say is, obviously, just be smart, be intelligent, be responsible. You know how your body feels, you know how your voice feels, you know how important these gigs are. And we're going to wrap them up in a second, but I'll also just quickly say that, singer's life can be difficult, it's not perfect. That is the beauty of being a human instrument, that sometimes we have to go on tour and we have to travel and there's planes and there's illnesses and it's that time of year and it's a seasonal change and there's stress and there's anxiety, there's so many things. So sometimes if you're just a little bit sick, not a lot, don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about serious sick here, I'm talking about just not on top form, it can be nice to see, okay, can I still get through this performance not at my best? And maybe I know, but maybe the audience wouldn't know. There's been so many countless singers who they go, oh God, I'm not feeling it. And then no one would know apart from them. Because it's always going to be a bit more difficult at times than others singing gigs. Any singer who's been through will say it's not always perfect. And sometimes singing on a slightly tired voice is quite good practice to see just how good your technique is and that if you can get it back. But obviously, if it's on the very severe side, no technique in the world is going to save you, to be honest with you, if you're really, really ill. It doesn't matter if you're Pavarotti or David Phelps. If you are seriously ill, then it's going to go. So without further ado, let's just help you quickly decide with the 3 factors we had in mind. So just how sick are you? Do a pendulum there of that you're not very sick or you're extremely sick, and just how important the gig, the singing performance is itself. Is it something that is not very important, or is it extremely important for you? And just how good a state is your voice in? So I would suggest something like marking on a scale of 1 to 10. each one of those 3 factors. So if the 3 factors are something like, on the first set, it's that I've only got a cold, so it's quite mild. And the second set is, this is a really important event, it only comes around once a year, or it's the final for my dream role, or it's opening night, right? Or it's the cast recording. And if the third one is, I think I could probably get there with a vocal warm-up and a lesson, then you should probably do it. Whereas if you've marked yourself on 1 to 10 and it's something different, as in, I feel really, really ill here, something else is going on, whether it's bronchitis, laryngitis, and then the second factor is, it's only an audition that comes round all the time, it's a first round, it's a performance that I do every Friday night, something like that. And if also vocally, like, this feels a bit different here, I'm starting to feel like really tired, that this is going to get worse, then that might be an area where you go towards the no, you're not going to do the singing event. I do hope that helps in some form, because it's the season to be sick, as we say. But I just want to say thank you for sticking with me as well. I've taken a bit more time off lately, putting out my own health story, which is very, very good, very therapeutic for me to do. Helped a lot of other people, I hope. And also I've been setting up the Recording Artist Program. That's starting in London, so I've been setting up some other stuff, but I will get back to putting out more content. So thank you so much for all your support, and see you soon.